Hello there, Cancers. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. I am going to be changing the format a little bit this time. We're going from breaking everything down into weeks to breaking the month down into two pretty much equal sections. So last month's forecast went out until January 2nd. This time we're starting the forecasts on January 3rd and running them through January 16th. And then the second half of the video will be about January 17th through the 31st. So, before we get started, let me just say, crosswatchers, you are absolutely welcome to be here, but please keep in mind that this is a reading that is about Cancer, and it is for Cancer. Energies on my channel are not reversible. I know who I'm reading for. I'm reading for Cancers. If you want to get some insights into what's going on in a Cancer's life who happens to be in your sphere of influence, that's totally fine. Just remember that this is about and for Cancer, not reversible, not about and for you. Okay, so let's just be really clear about that. No confusion, please. Thank you guys for thumbs upping this video and sharing it with other people who may find benefit from it as well. Also, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings from me and private Reiki sessions. All right, let's start with your environment. Cancers, what do we have going on here? It looks to me like you're feeling really restricted in whatever your environment is. And remember, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. But you're feeling really restricted in your environment. However, in spite of those restrictions, I do think that you are hopeful that you're going to be coming into happiness with that environment very soon. So you may have something going on where some things are actually being changed or changing in the environment. And you are expecting that once those changes happen, then you're going to be happy there. But there's this transition from this feeling restricted and bound up in the environment to feeling very happy with it. And I think you're hopeful that you're going to feel happy with it whenever we actually see you in this particular time frame. Okay, I don't think we're at happiness just yet. We're at hopeful for happiness. All right, next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Cancers. So it looks like before you felt like you couldn't really stand up for yourself or hold your own ground. You didn't know how to deal with some kind of situation. You didn't know what was the best way to handle that situation and not generate consequences you didn't want. You have figured that out, okay? And so now you have a plan about how to not only hold your own ground, but also to be moving forward in a very productive way, maybe even financially. Not necessarily, but maybe. And your subconscious is working on making that happen. Okay. Now, let's look next at learning style and also communication style during this time frame. So I do think that your learning style is very solid, very organized. You guys could literally be taking a class or going to a seminar during this time frame. It does look like if you're taking a class or going to a seminar, whatever you're studying has very solid analytical information as a part of it. And I do think that whatever it is that you're learning here is something, whether you're in a class or not, whatever it is you're learning is something that actually is going to serve you well for years. For some of you, part of what you're learning has to do with a person or with people in general. And you may even be getting some type of certificate with some sort of gold seal or gold frame around it. Seems pretty specific, but it's coming up. I'm going to say it. All right, Cancers, let's look at communication style. There is a lot of talk coming through here about money. There's also a lot of talk coming through here about home and about family. And I think that you have a decision to make as far as money and home or family. And so I think that there is a lot of talk with different people. I feel like you are pulling advice from different places around this whole topic. Alrighty. Next, let's look at work. Main themes and energy for work for you Cancers. Looks to me like I think you're getting an offer from some place that you used to work before or from somebody that you used to work with before. And it looks to me like this offer is one that would be fairly profitable if you would decide that it is the right offer for you. Whether it's the right offer or not, I don't know. I do know you're receiving an offer that does promise to be profitable. What else do we have here? Inner work. Inner work has to do with the idea of letting go of bad feelings or bad blood from a situation from the past, possibly so that you can even accept the idea of that new offer. Doesn't have to be all tied together, but very well could be from what I'm seeing there. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is growing or expanding during this time frame. Looks to me like the work situation that you have right now is very limited, very restricted, and it doesn't look like there's any good ideas to make it less limiting or less restricted moving forward. And so this is, I think this is where you're really focusing on, okay, this is the problem that I need to come up with a solution to. And this may be why this offer came in, or it may be just incredibly good timing that this offer came in right now as you're looking at, this is really restricting me. And I think part of the way it's restricting you is that your work is not paying you what you're worth right now. Okay, so that's where you're growing or expanding. La da 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 da. I want to know, will you take the offer? That's what we're going to look at. If that does not come up in an obvious sort of way in the rest of this reading, I want to know, are you going to be able to take the offer? Because it does look like there could be some bad blood around the person that the offer is coming through, or maybe with the place that you would be working at. And so you may not feel like that's the best offer for you. You may feel like you would rather stay where you're limited and restricted rather than go to that. So unless that comes up later on in the spread, that's the question we're going to be looking at in the expanded for this time frame. All right, but for right now, what we're looking at is those things that you stand for. And so after you stand for or explain this situation or this decision that you've made, then we're going to look at how this person that you've explained to actually feels about you and about the situation. So you had a situation where you have a friends group, and one of your friends basically has said, you know what, I actually have romantic interest in you and I would like to pursue that. And so you've had to use your judgment and what to do with that situation. Now, how this other person who's asked you about this or confronted you about this feels is they feel like They basically feel like you have, I'm going to say their perception is you've cut this person off who made this offer because that's what made the most sense to you. You want them to stay in their friend box. You know, I really get the sense that a lot of you already have somebody who's a romantic partner, so having another one may not be something that would be kosher for you and your other person. So anyway, this person feels like, you've cut the person off who made the romantic offer, and they feel like, you're doing this because, you're hoping for inspiration and for excitement somewhere else, and they feel like you're going to be disappointed by that hope for inspiration and excitement somewhere else. Who knows if they're right or not, but that's their perspective on things. All right. Let's look here. And by the way, that could have even been this person who made the offer that you were explaining your answer to. That would not be a big surprise there. It doesn't have to be, but that certainly wouldn't be a big surprise for a lot of you. All right, let's look next at your flex point. This is where things happen that sort of change your perspective and change your trajectory, okay? So for the flex point, lesson or experience is what we're seeing here. So it looks to me like you guys are coming to a point where you may be ending a long-term contract, maybe even a marriage for some of you. There just is not really the chemistry between the two of you here. It looks to me like you all are able to talk about it. You're able to bring some closure to the situation. And I think both of you are realizing that you just don't want to be committed to each other long term. All right. Let's look at what's going on as you're incorporating this experience into your life. La da da da. It seems to me like even though this is showing up as you guys have talked about this and you're both kind of in agreement that this is not an ideal situation for a long-term contract, it still looks to me like you're feeling like everything's a little bit out of control. I think you feel like you were kind of forced to agree with this person even though you would like to have kept things moving forward. And so things are feeling a little bit out of control for you. Cancers, I have to say, you may even be going for some escapist type behaviors right now. You may be falling into old addictions, you know, eating your feelings, drinking, other things, other mind-altering substances to sort of escape from the situation, or, other escapist type activities as well. So you want to be careful with that. You want to keep an eye on where your mental health is at this point. And then what else is going on? This is definitely a huge, huge, huge change for you. And I think that somewhere in the midst of this being really just thrown off and feeling like you were forced into agreeing with this other person, I think that you're coming to a point where you're realizing not all is lost here. There are some good things coming out of this. I can make some major transformations in my life now that I would not have been able to make had this contract or had this agreement not fallen apart. So I'm really happy to see that. That's a good thing. Good thing that you can see the positives so quickly. All right, now, Cancers, let's look at where you are at the end of this time frame. So this is going to be 14th, 15th, 16th of the month. I want you to be really careful about who you let into your life right now. You may be going through backlash, or this person may be coming back, but there's definitely a situation that takes you by surprise. And I think for a lot of you, what it's going to be is this person that you felt like you were forced to agree that, okay, we need to go our separate ways. I think this person comes back around, and I think that you guys may be getting back together, but I think that this is not what this person has in mind is not the same as what you have in mind. This person has in mind no strings attached, just fun. It's comfortable because you guys are comfortable with each other and know each other well. And then they want to go on their merry way. It's for them, it's not the renewing of an old commitment, where I think what you would be looking for when they come back around unexpecting, you would be thinking, oh, we're getting back together again. The agreement is on, the contract is on. This other person is definitely not in that mindset. They are in the mindset of, I'm here for a little while because it hurts and it's hard to not be with you, but I'm gonna pick up and leave again as soon as I get the comfort that I need from being with you for a few minutes or a few hours maybe. So just be careful of that energy coming in. Now, for others of you, this isn't the other person coming back just for some comfort because it's difficult to break up. And this doesn't have to be romantic. If you want to put this in, like if you can see this happening in a business thing, if you want to put this in a business context, this would be somebody coming back for like a one-time transaction, but not for a relationship type of, not for a business relationship type of transaction. So either way, but the other way that this could play out is that we saw that this really shocked you. This made you feel like you had to agree with the other person that, to go your own ways. It looks like you could be, for some of you, you could be going through a backlash where instead of it being this person coming back for some quick comfort, it's somebody else that is showing up on the scene. But this other person that's showing up on the scene just wants something, no strings attached, one-time deal, most likely. Maybe they want to be somebody that, is a repetitive drive-by. But for most of them, I think this is, no strings attached, one type deal from somebody new that shows up. So you just want to be really careful at the end of this time frame about who you're actually allowing into your space. You're already in a pretty fragile place because this was a surprise to you and you weren't really gung-ho, let's go along with this. You just didn't feel like you had a choice. So your emotions are in a raw place. You're vulnerable. It's easy for people to come in, and it's easy when we're in that place to kind of think that they're offering more than what they're offering, sometimes because they're giving us that idea intentionally and sometimes not. So just be really careful, be easy with yourself, recognize that you're in a vulnerable place and, take some good care of yourself. That's what I would say about that. The beauty of getting these readings ahead of time is if you see something going on that you already know you don't like, you do have the opportunity to turn that energy around and head it off at the pass. Okay? So I'm going to shut this down for a minute. I'm going to go over and I'm going to look at, are you going to be able to take that offer, that lucrative offer whenever it comes to work? Or are the hard feelings from the past going to block you from doing that? So that's what we're going to look at in the expanded. I kind of want to see where that goes. I think it's important. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, Cancers, we are back, and this time we are looking at the 17th through the 31st. You've got cards that are wanting to jump, jump, jump. That tells me that you guys have a lot on your mind during this time frame. And we're going to take those jumpers and go ahead and put them down on the table. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Okay, let's take a peek at what we've got. So Cancer, for your environment, what's going on? Hmm. I'm just feeling into these. So Cancers, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And what we have going on here is that there is some kind of long-term contract or commitment. So if this is in personal life, this might even be a marriage. If this is an environment that's a work environment, this may be an employment situation. And it looks like this is, whatever this long-term contract or commitment is for you, it's being cut. It's being cut off. And it's being cut off in an unfair way. Okay, it's not being cut off in any way that makes any sense or that, has any logic to it. But I don't feel bad about this because there is something beautiful coming out of this. This gives you a chance to have a brand new, fresh start. And that fresh start is the central energy that's popping up here. And that energy is coming up so strong. That is almost what's overwhelming me as I look at these three cards that talk about environment. That energy is so strong that I almost don't even care that whatever was this long-term contract or commitment is now being unfairly sliced away because this is giving you this new opportunity to move forward and it's fresh and there's just so much potential here that I'm almost seeing this dissolution of whatever this long-term contract or commitment was. I'm almost seeing it as good. Almost. Not completely, but almost. It's pretty exciting. This whole new start is pretty exciting, if nothing else. I'll say that. There's a lot of good energy around that new start. And it feels like whatever this is that was being cut, it's it's not fair. It's not fair, but in some ways it's also a relief anyway. All right, let's look at your subconscious leanings next. What do we have here? Okay, Cancers, I think that you're really disappointed with yourself whenever I'm looking at subconscious leanings. And the reason I think you're disappointed with yourself is because there's something that has come along that has been a disappointment to you. Now, that's not exactly why you're upset with yourself. You're upset with yourself because your intuition told you that this was going to happen. Your intuition was giving you those red flags, those warning signs. You knew in your gut this was going to happen. And so I think you're upset with yourself for not being more proactive about doing something about this situation so that you can make the outcome better, or at least so you could be in a better position when this outcome came out. So to me, it looks like your subconscious is really working around this idea of, I knew it. Why did I let that happen? Why did I let this happen in the way that I did? I knew it was coming. That's kind of where your subconscious is going. So what I'm going to say here is beating up on yourself is not going to make anything better. We have enough people around us that beat up on us. We don't have to beat up on ourselves. There's plenty of people to do that job. Okay? But instead, just take the lesson from this situation and move forward with it so that you can use this lesson in the future. The next time your gut is telling you and your intuition is telling you, Houston, we have a problem, then next time you're going to pay attention to that and you're going to be more proactive about it. That's just how it works when we get burnt like that. All right, so don't beat up on yourself. Just know that it's important to pay attention to that intuition. All right. La da 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 da. And a lot of people, I gotta say, you're not the only one. A lot of people will not do anything about what they're picking up intuitively because they don't have hard evidence of a situation. Well, I understand our society, our culture has taught us that we have to see seeing is believing, and to know the truth, we have to see evidence of the truth. That's a very scientific mindset, but my personal belief is Sacred Spirit gave us the intuition that we have. It's up to us to develop it to whatever level we want it at. But when that intuition is working, it's working for us, it's working on our behalf, then we have an advantage that other people don't have because they haven't developed their intuition. Why are we going to throw that advantage away just because we don't have evidence? Seems silly, doesn't it, when you think about it? To throw away our advantage? Why would we do that? We can't conform to the thoughts of this world. It'll only kill us. All right, so moving on and getting off my soapbox, we're going to look next at learning style and communication style during this particular time frame. I do think you're getting a lot of good information right now, and I think this is information that is healthy, it's healing, it's even happiness bringing. Okay? I do think you're also picking up a lot of good information just out of curiosity, just asking questions wherever you go, just being your normal curious self. And I do also feel like there is some information coming into you that Cancers, I'm going to say it's going to be sort of a challenge not to sweep this information under the rug or to suppress it once you know it. It comes into me as I'm looking at this card, like some of this information that you're getting during this time frame is hot, too hot to handle. Like it's just, uh, I think that some of the information you're getting is just overwhelming. And it really does require some type of action. But I think the fact that it's overwhelming is going to make it really tempting for you to just try to pretend you didn't hear it because you really don't want to have to take the kinds of actions that you would need to for this. So be aware. Be aware that, if you're feeling overwhelmed by information, don't blow it off. Take some time to sit with that information and sort out what is the most appropriate response to that. Not reaction, response. Excuse me, well thought out response is what we're looking for here. All right, so that's learning style. What about communication style? There is a lot of happiness being communicated. And I think even for a lot of you, a lot of abundance is being communicated as well. Yeah, Cancers, you just have a lot of emotions that you're communicating right now. Not surprising with you being a water sign. I totally understand that. I'm a Scorpio sun with a Pisces moon, so I get it about, being perfectly comfortable with communicating emotions. And I think that definitely there are some deep emotions that you guys are talking about during this time frame. I do feel like whatever this is, whatever is this information that I was worried about you guys suppressing or not paying attention to, not doing what you needed to do with it, I do feel like you are going to be bringing it out to the light and doing what needs to be done with it. I don't see you sweeping it under the rug, maybe because you've watched this reading or maybe that's just what it would have been anyway. But I do see you really holding it up to the light, holding this information up to the light and figuring out, okay, where do I go from here now that I know this information? What is my next move here? All right, next. Let's look at work, Cancer. Ooh, look at that. Things are going really well, actually, for work. Excuse me. You actually have choices when it comes to work during this time frame. I like that. I like that a lot for you because I know you were feeling limited and restricted where you were. So you have choices that are coming up here. And I think that, yeah, more than one choice. I think that you have something appropriate here too. One of these choices is appropriate for you to move forward with, and I think that you're going to during this time frame. I'm liking it. That's way cool. That's way cool. All right. Next, we're going to look at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as we go through this time frame. What do we have? Hmm. What I'm picking up is really specific, so I'm going to give you what I'm picking up, even though I know that's not going to apply to everyone, and then I'm going to open it up to the more general meaning. But it looks to me like some of you are finishing up some kind of class or some kind of schooling, and then you're going back as a guest speaker or as maybe you're going back as a part-time professor or something like that in a university. But so that's the specific version that's only going to apply to maybe one person who watches this video. But the real general version that I would normally like to give you guys is more about that there is something that you're completing, that you're finishing up, you're wrapping it up, putting away all the loose strings, tying them up, and packing it up neatly. And I feel like as you're doing that, you are going back to something. So even though this is over, even though you're packing it up and tying it up, there's some aspect of this that you are returning to. And as you're returning to it, I do feel like there is some kind of communication around this. I don't know if you're going back to this and you're reviewing, if you're going back and you're revising. This could be that you finished up a course and now you have to take a test, and so you're going back to what was taught in that course and reviewing it so that you're, prepared for the test. That could very easily be happening as well. So wrapping something up and then going back to it even after it's all wrapped up and complete and finished, and going back to it because there's communication of some kind or another coming up around that situation. A test is communication. I hear some of you wondering. Yes, it is. It's one version of communication. It's communicating your skill level, isn't it? All right, next we're looking at things that you stand for. What's going on here? So this is something that somebody's wanted you to explain to them, or maybe they've even confronted you about it. So we're going to look at, you know, this situation that you're standing for, and then we're going to look at how they feel about you after you've stood for this situation. Okay? So, all right, so it looks like you have basically a player in your midst, and they basically have told you, maybe they've told the world that they're going to change. And yet they have not. Are we surprised? Maybe the young ones of us are surprised. The rest of us are not. All right, so here's this person who is flighty, who has a hard time saying that they're going to commit to anything, whether it's to a time to get together, to a relationship, whatever. They're afraid, this personality is really afraid to commit to anything because they're afraid that if they commit to something, then if something better comes along, what are they going to do? Then they have to disappear to go be with the something better, which is exactly what they will do. But if they're not committed, then it's not such a big deal. They don't look like they're flaking out. So anyway, this is somebody who is very fickle. And, they're saying, oh, well, I'm going to change. I'm going to do better. And then after they've said that they'll change and do better, nothing really changes. What they really want is for you to change and start accepting them being all over the map and fickle and not really there for them. You're not changing, they're not changing. So this is what you've had to defend or explain to somebody. Now how they feel after you've explained this, they feel like you're making some long-term plans. Hmm. I'm just looking at this in a little more detail before I start telling all about it. They see you as making some long-term plans to sort of shut out someone in your life who has strong narcissistic tendencies. They feel like you are busy manifesting and you don't want to be dragged down by this person who has these tendencies. And it's really kind of cool. I'm using the Tarot of the Golden Wheel, but if you look at this, here's how they see you. They see you with that hand up. Have you ever seen that, talk to the hand type of motion? That's what this is coming across to me as right now. And the hand is being held up to this guy in reverse. Now the Emperor in reverse is my typical classic narcissistic type of personality or has strong narcissistic tendencies. So check it out. This is you with your hand up, and this hand is actually facing towards that narcissist. It's saying, nope, talk to the hand. I'm done messing with you. And then after that, we've got the Empress. I'm busy manifesting what I need in my life. I'm manifesting what I want. You talk to the hand. I've got other things to do. See you later, Jack. That's what we've got going on there. So you're explaining. You're explaining to this person, look, this is a fickle, changing his mind always, running around always type of person. He says he's going to change with that devil in reverse, but everything always stays the same with that death in reverse. So now this other person, which may be your narcissistic type person, sees you saying, hey, talk to the hand, buddy, bye-bye, I gotta go, I got things to manifest, I got things to do, see you later, bye. That's what we've got going on there. Good for you. Good for you. Us water signs, we can be very empathic and we can pick up, the energies of people like that who are very narcissistic. They kind of, they're kind of drawn to us. And those of us who are empaths seem to have a hard time letting go of them. So the fact that you're saying, hey, talk to the hand, I got other things to do, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Cancer. That's not an easy deal. So next thing we're looking at talks to me about lesson or experience during this time frame. So this is the flex period. This is where your perspective shifts a little bit, which shifts the trajectory of your life a little bit. So what do we see in the flex period? You are using good judgment. Look at that. I love it. Good judgment. So you're recognizing that you have a situation that you just weren't happy in at all. It wasn't secure at all. It wasn't safe at all. And you're looking at that as, okay, I'm recognizing this. I'm accepting that this is just what it was. And now you're using that judgment to really think about, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? Do I keep putting up with this or what? And what you're doing is you're saying, you know what, that's very disappointing. However, there are some other opportunities that are coming out of this situation. So I think as we see you walking away, talk to the hand, buddy boy, walking away. And females can be narcissists too. I'm not trying to be sexist. I just happen to know that 99.9% of my audience is female. So if you guys are putting your hand up, a lot of you, it's going to be a male. Not all of you. Females can be narcissists. So, if you're oriented to where you prefer females, you could be dealing with a female narcissist too. All right. So, yeah, you're using your good judgment. You're saying, you know what, that wasn't making me happy, but I'm not going to sit in a pity party type of energy. I'm going to look for opportunities that I can actually do something with moving forward. So you could be looking for a couple of different type of opportunities. Once you get a narcissistic type of energy set aside and out of your sphere of influence as much as you possibly can, then that gives you the opportunity to move forward in work in ways that you couldn't before because they had you too wrought up and just unable to focus. It also gives you an opportunity to move forward in relationships like you haven't been able to before, because before all your attention was focused on this person. There was no bandwidth for anybody else. Okay, so you're looking at the new opportunities in this point where the lesson or experience is happening. You're focusing on those new opportunities and moving forward with that because you can, because not all of your attention is being given to this other person who has the narcissistic tendencies. Now, what else is going on, Cancers, at the same time? You're recognizing how unhappy you have become because you were so focused on this other person for so long, however long it was. Sometimes it doesn't even take long. And you're starting to realize that you don't even know what makes you happy anymore. Not at this point. And so I think that you are spending some time figuring out, what is it that makes me happy? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I would enjoy? Getting to know yourself a little bit better, Cancers. And what else is going on here? I think you're throwing yourself into work as a way of processing and sort of coping and sort of getting through the worst of the times whenever you're first separating from somebody else, whether they're narcissistic or not. When you first separate from somebody else, it's a tough thing. It's hard. We got used to that company, right? Even if it was bad company, we got used to it. And so I think you're throwing yourself into work. And I think, Cancers, you're trying to ignore your emotions. You're trying to ignore your frustration and just your anger and anxiousness over this whole situation, because I do feel like there's a lot of frustration and anger and anxiousness that's still going on here. I think that even though you're showing this person a strong stance of, hey, talk to the hand, I think mentally you're kind of double checking yourself, making sure, did I make the right decision? You know, you're just trying to make sure that you're doing everything in the best way that you possibly can. And you've got some emotions to deal with here because this just isn't easy. And so I see you throwing yourself into work as a way of escaping from thinking about those emotions so much. Where do we see you at the end of the month, Cancers? Let's find out. Let's find out. So here's what we've got going on. I don't think we even need to do an expanded on anything here this time around. Okay, so Cancers, I think you're watching the other person. I don't know if I want to say stalking, but you're definitely keeping a close eye on them, Cancer. Even though you're the one that said, hey, talk to the hand, I still see you keeping a close eye on this person. It's not easy. It's not easy. And it looks to me like you're feeling trapped in your own mind because you're overthinking everything. You've made this decision, you're trying to move forward with it, but you're thinking about it and rethinking about it and rethinking about it and quadruple thinking about it and overthinking about it. And so you're kind of trapped in your own mind. It's like you're on this rat wheel of just run, run, run over these same old thoughts over and over and over. They're not making you happy. They're not doing anything productive. You've made the decision, stick with the decision, but now think about something else. Think about what you want to do moving forward. Think about things that make you happy. This isn't going to make you happy. This is going to make you depressed. And actually, that's exactly what we see it doing in the next card. Just verifies what I was feeling, is that yes, this is thinking this over and thinking this over and thinking this over and thinking this over is actually making you feel sad and depressed and blue. So you want to focus on what you want to do moving forward. We saw you starting to do that. It would be really great if you would get this reading and hear it and realize, oh, wait, I want to stay in that, focus on the opportunities, focus on what I can do, focus on finding out what it is I love, keep moving in that direction, and don't go into this. I mean, this has the potential to become full-blown depression here on the table. So, you want to head that off at the pass. You want to be happy. You've gotten away from this person because you needed desperately to be happy. You don't want to drive yourself crazy now of thinking these same thoughts over and over and over. You want to maximize that happiness. Okay? So that's what I've got for you, Cancer. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you very much for spending some of your precious time with me. I do appreciate it. I also appreciate all the thumbs ups and all the shares on this video, especially to other people who may find it beneficial. And then, of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings, private Reiki sessions, those of you who are buying the advanced videos, and those of you who are participating in the super chats. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you again. It is because of all of you that I get to do what I love to do for my living. Everybody have a fantastic month, and if I don't see you for a private session between now and then, I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.